It's a local legend known by many a century ago. Now few are familiar, but it's carried on by one of this area's most infamous families, the Reynolds family, and what's known as the Joshua coin.
Fox 8's Michael Hennessy is here in the studio with us. Michael, the story really dates back to the late 1600s.
Neil, Katie, and Joshua Cox Sr. and Mary Rankin. They moved from Ireland to Pennsylvania in the early 1700s, and there Joshua Cox Jr. was born in 1731. Less than 2 decades later, the saga of the Joshua coin began.
And she ended up with all the stuff when he went off to war and didn't come back.
William Noah, better known simply as Noah Reynolds, is one of a few people who spent a chunk of their childhood within the property of the historic Reynolds House, the home of tobacco mogul R.J. Reynolds.
I think it's the story of America.
Today, we're sitting inside it to talk about one of the most mysterious pieces of Reynolds family history.
The Joshua coin's always been in the lore of the family.
It begins with Joshua Cox Jr. As Reynolds explains, Cox was captured by Native Americans during the French Indian War in Pennsylvania.
Lived with the indigenous tribes for a period of time and then escaped down the Susquehanna River. And the only thing he had around his neck was the silver Joshua coin.
A small coin, just like this, minted in Peru in 1749. After his escape, Cox and his family moved to Stokes County, where he was thrust into war once more, the Revolutionary War.
Captain Joshua Cox Jr. was carrying his lucky silver totem when he was shot near Stokes County, and the Royalists thought that he had died, but he did survive.
2 wars, survived both, with one constant.
The lore began to grow from there that if you touched the silver coin to your gold, you would be lucky if you went off to war.
Legend has it Cox lived to a great age without as much as a single tooth decaying. Before his death, his wife gave birth to Joshua Cox III, who had a daughter, Nancy Jane Cox.
I think men make their own luck, but I'm glad to be a part of this story.
Nancy went on to marry tobacco farmer Hardin William Reynolds in 1834. They had 16 children, including Richard Joshua Reynolds, his birth coinciding with Joshua Cox III's death. And now, the Joshua coin came into the Reynolds family.
Yes, I feel lucky that I'm a part of that history.
RJ's brother, A.D. Reynolds, was off to fight in the Civil War. RJ rubbed the Joshua coin on some gold coins A.D. was bringing with him to pass on its good luck. A.D. too came home. R.J. Reynolds bought his first land in Winston-Salem 150 years ago. In 1875, he established his own tobacco factory there and launched Camel cigarettes in 1913. The next year came the First World War.
The stories say that when R.J. Reynolds was here in Winston-Salem, when World War I broke out, that people would come by and he would touch the coin to their gold and bring them luck, and they say that everybody that touched the gold came back from World War I.
Noah's grandfather would later become another graced by the coin.
My grandfather was a lieutenant commander in World War II and had touched the lucky coin before he went off to war and survived, in the Pacific against kamikazes and aircraft carriers and everything out there.
From there, it fell to Noah's uncle.
My father borrowed the coin in 1982 and made a silver cast copy of it and then returned it to my uncle.
But that is the last his father ever saw of the Joshua coin.
When my uncle passed away in 1995, the coin was not listed in his estate. Don't know where it is.
Today, he protects that cast copy, only having worn it 1 or 2 times. And as he tells it, there are not 1, but 2 coin stories in the Reynolds family.
One of them was that we had the 1913 V nickel. It was supposed to be the most rare nickel in existence. There's only 5 known specimens, and there were articles abound that said that my grandmother had a copy of it in the early 1960s, and it disappeared for 30 or 40 years before it was discovered.
That nickel was worth millions of dollars. The Joshua coin to the Reynolds family is priceless.
I mean, I think that we crave history and stories, and we want to tell stories, and especially local stories. And this is just a local story about Winston-Salem.
If you want to check it out, you can visit the Reynolds Estate. All you have to do is go to reynolda.org. Back to you guys.
Fascinating, Michael. Thank you.